Bright sun, harsh light. What do you do? Okay, you're in summer, so sunrise is like 4, 5 o'clock, sunset 9 o'clock at night. Ideally, you want the golden hour, but the practicalities of life is that you've got to work and you've got a life. So you might not be able to get up at 4. You might not be able to stay out till 9 o'clock to get that golden hour. So can you actually take decent pictures in harsh light and bright sun? Well, by implementing a few techniques, you definitely can. That is what we're going to be exploring in this video. So I was in this scenario a little while ago, and yeah, so I'm going to show you how I tackled it. Now, this is for pictures where you would ideally want the golden hour, right? Landscapes, maybe cityscapes, etc. We're not going to be talking about, street photography, portraiture, or anything like that. So let's go into Lightroom and look at how I dealt with the situation and the final pictures that I took. Okay, so here's one of the pictures that I took, and here's another picture that I took. Now, we was at, I think it was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon in summer. I had a training course the next day. I was staying in a hotel up London. I had to get back to prepare for it, right? I would have loved to have got these shots in the golden hour, the sunset in soft, warm light, but I didn't, right? So what could you do? Well, in this scenario, or in these scenarios, I used a 10-stop filter. I used the harsh light to my advantage. I clearly turned it black and white and added some editing techniques, which I'm going to go through with you in this video. And lastly, composition. Composition is key. Let's go over to the screen and now explain to you the settings, how I took the shot, etc. Okay, we'll start with this one first. All right, so that there is the picture. If you just snapped the picture, that's what would happen. All right, and for those of you that don't know London, this is the Millennium Bridge. You've got the Shard over here and you've got Tate Modern here. And as it stands, it is, it's not really a good picture. You would never post it. But what you have got is iconic buildings, iconic bridge, iconic city, and compositionally, what we've got is actually a really nice picture. I was pleased with the composition because we've got the Shard under the bridge. We've got the Tate Modern. This kind of mirrors the Shard. And then you've got the bridge coming in diagonally through the frame. We've also got a shadow from the bridge. Again, this is talking about using the harsh light to your advantage. I thought, well, I might, if seeing as the sun is really bright and really harsh, we might as well wait for it to come out and get a really harsh shadow on the River Thames. So we've done that like that. And we've added a little bit of the, I don't know what these are called, wooden things that are, when the tide goes out, that's what's shown, okay? So that's it snapped just with P mode on your camera, all right? And we've got an exposure at the top here at f7.1, 1/200th of a second. We're using an ultra wide angle lens. Let's have a look now if you put a 10-stop filter on. That is this here, okay? So for those of you that don't know, a 10-stop ND filter is like putting a pair of sunglasses on your camera lens. It stops the light coming into the lens, which enables you to open the shutter for longer, giving you a longer exposure. Now, when you get a longer exposure, you can smooth out the water there. As you can see, you can smooth out the water and you can blur the clouds in the sky. So already we're getting a more interesting shot. It's more interesting because obviously you're not used to seeing the River Thames nice and smooth. You're not used to seeing clouds blur in the sky. So already we're getting a more of an interesting shot here. And this exposure was at f16, 30 seconds, ultra wide angle. And I had to take the ISO down to 50 actually, because in the bright sun, even with a 10-stop ND filter, if it's really bright sun, you need to slow that light down as much as possible. So on my camera, I could go down to ISO 50. And that's what I did, just to give myself an extra stop of slowing the light down. And then we process it through Lightroom and we get this image here. Now again, would I have liked the golden hour in this particular shot? Yes. Practicalities of life stopped me from getting the golden hour. So we can still, with that technical knowledge of photography and composition, get images like this, which are postable. This will go on social media. We'll get loads of likes. It's as simple as that. I also had a little bit of luck because the tide was really low at this particular time when I was taking this picture. So that enabled me to walk down the steps and get down low, which don't usually happen, by the way. And I got this picture here. And again, composition is key. I've put these logs, I really don't know what they are, in the foreground of the shot. That leads you into the bridge. Again, the bridge is coming diagonally. Really important with composition, diagonals. It's coming diagonally from the top right, leading you through the frame. We've got the Shard, an iconic London building, underneath the bridge here in this section. Mirroring it again, we've got the turbine of the Tate Modern here. Like I said at the beginning, composition is key. Always keep that in mind. Think about things that are going to give you foreground interest, background interest, lead you through the frame. Think about balance in your composition. You know, I've got the Shard and the Tate here. Think about that balance. And let's go through the technicalities of it. So here is the snap of that picture. Okay, this is taken at 1/200th of a second, f7.1 again. It's 17mm it says here, but for argument's sake it's ultra wide. And again, I've got the ISO on 50, probably because I've left it from where I had it before, but I just wanted to get a snapshot. I mean, you can see the compositions there in this image, but it's pretty boring still because we've got that harsh light, and you know, it's just not a good light. When you whack a 10 stop on, it looks like that. And this one was another 30-second exposure at f16, ISO 50. And now we're getting some interest in the shot because, again, we've got the smooth river, we've got blurred sky, and then we whack it through Lightroom. And then we get this picture here, which takes all that negativity away from that harsh light and turns it black and white and uses that harsh light to its advantage, which is what black and white can do, right? So we've got a really harsh light coming in on the bridge. We've got shadows. Look at the trees over here. The light's hitting it. It's giving it some contrast, same as the logs at the front. So we are using the harsh light to our advantage in a picture like this. Now, clearly, the editing is a really big part of turning these pictures from, you know, harsh light that's really not good into a half decent picture that you can post on socials. And that's what I'm going to show you next. But to summarize on the photography part, it's composition. Yeah, get your composition correct. And 10 stop, using a 10 stop filter so that you can make clouds streak in the sky or make water go smooth, because it's going to add interest to your image. All right. So now we're going to look at the editing. But before we go into that, if you do want to learn how to do these long exposure images, if you do want to learn how to edit photography in Lightroom like this, then we've got full-blown in-depth courses over at the School of Photography. It will save you so much time in the end if you actually invest in some paid education. And I can tell you now that there is no one better than the School of Photography to teach you photography. Just go and check out all of our feedback if you don't believe me. So if you want to learn photography properly, if you want to learn editing properly, we've got loads of other stuff over there, like wildlife photography, landscape photography, fine art photography, portraiture, studio lighting. I mean, the list is endless. All right. So come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com if you want to learn how to do all of this editing, all of the photography, if you want to learn how to do it quicker, if you want to learn how to do it in depth. That's where we specialize. Okay. Now let's get into the editing of these images. So we're going to start with the first one here, the original one. Now, like I said before, we want to play on that harsh light. We want to make it part of the image. So we want to make sure that our editing does that justice. All right. So to start with, really simple, you click the black and white button at the top here and you start editing the picture in black and white mode, right? Then as you can see here, I've done my basic edits, which really does most of the hard graph, shall we say, and I'll just hide that effect and bring it back. I mean, look, there you go. Yeah, that is just the basic panel, which is really cool. I added an S curve into this one, as you can see. I've got a whole YouTube on using curves. If that's your thing, they're really, really good to use, particularly in black and white photography. Then if we come down a little bit further, I've got my black and white mixer panel here. Now, this is a really good panel to use for black and white photography, particularly if you're doing stuff with blue skies, for instance, okay? Because you can grab things like the blue slider here, and I can go like that and really darken down that sky if I want to, or I can bring it up and lighten that sky if I want to. I'm going to press Control and Z to undo that. And essentially what you're doing there is playing with the colors underneath the black and white effects. So if you're darkening down the blue, which would be the sky, in the black and white edit, you're actually making the blue sky black. Okay, so an understanding of color in a black and white edit is really, really beneficial. The black and white mixer for black and white editing, definitely give that a crack. Okay, then we're going to come down to, I mean, under color grading, I was just mucking around, which is why it's got that eye symbol, but actually there's nothing there. So I didn't do anything in the color grading panel. Details, just sharpening things up. It's the classic sharpening of imagery. I'm not going to go through it in depth here, but you can check it out on the Lightroom course if you want to. And then we're going to go down to effects here. I'm going to open up that panel, and this is a good one. It was just a very, very, very slight, as you can see there, very slight vignette. Okay, just around the edge. Okay, and there you go. And then we've got the masking. Now, masking is going to be brilliant for you. Let's go up to the masking panel. Look at all the masks. I'll start down from the bottom. I've quite simply got a linear one coming in from the bottom left. I've got a linear one coming in from the top right, and that's to balance out the brightness of the scene. Basically, it was brighter down the bottom than it was at the top, so I just wanted to balance that out. And then up the top here, if I hide that mask, I've got the underneath, if you like, the underneath of this bridge selected. And as you can see, I've made some adjustments there to give it more contrast and make it look better. And then we're going to go up to the other masks here. If I hide that one, that's the Take Modern, you see. I just wanted to lift that up a little bit like that. And then we're going to go to the top one here, and the Object Select mask didn't quite do a good job, right? I had to select this section here separately and, you know, brighten that section up as well. All right, let's hide all of the masks. That's without any masking. Look at that, without any masking. And that's with all the masking, which I'm sure you'll agree makes all the difference. Now I'm going to hide that masking panel, and then I'm going to click the before and after. And you can see, look at that. Look at the difference editing makes to your picture. And I can't stress to you enough how, if you want to take good pictures in challenging situations, because taking pictures in lovely conditions, so we say, the golden hour, it's easier, isn't it? Right? It's, you know, it's the golden hour. It's lovely, soft light. But when you are faced with challenging conditions and, you know, you've got to produce something that's good, that is when your photography skills and your editing skills come into play. If you've got really strong technical knowledge of photography, strong knowledge of editing, you can get half decent shots in challenging situations. Let's go and have a quick look at the other one. Let's go back to Loop View here, and we're going to go to the next one here. I'm not going to go through the full edit with you, because all I simply did was sync the edits from the picture before. From this one, I sync them to this one here, and then I added the masks again. I didn't sync the masks over because the masking is going to be different in each picture, but That's what I did. All the edits are the same, or roughly the same. I might have made a few little tweaks, but the basic edits, the curve, etc. will be the same. And if I go over to the masking panel, the masks will be slightly different, okay, throughout. But you've still got things like the object select tool with the tape modern, etc. And if I hide all of them masks, bring them back again, hide them again, bring them back, and you can see the difference that masking makes. So the next time that you're faced with bright sun, harsh light, you can't hang around for the golden hour. Play with them techniques, okay? It's using a 10-stop ND filter, using that harsh light to your advantage. You know, look for shadows, look for high contrast, and use that to your advantage. Compose your shot like you've never composed it before, right? Composition is key. And if you can turn an area into a really nice composition, think about foreground interest, background interest, leading your eye through the frame. And then it's the black and whiteness, right? This harsh light, you know, it's not nice light. It's too white. It's too harsh, you know, but it does work in black and white photography. So I've shown you briefly some editing skills there. Obviously, if you want to learn them properly, come over to the schoolofphotography.com and check out the Lightroom course that we do there. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, you really need to do us a favor. You need to like, you need to subscribe, hit that bell button. Otherwise, you're not going to see our next video when we release it, okay? So engage with us. Leave a comment. We love to hear from you. Share it with your friends, etc. And I'm going to leave you with this. If you want to learn photography properly, come over and see us at theschoolofphotography.com.